Hi Dixons, I'm Simon Palmer.
And I'm James Dyke. We are both Trust Assistant Principals at Dixons.
Today's episode is all about how to deliver an effective do now followed by a review now at the start of lessons, and will include real classroom footage of expert teachers modelling how to use these techniques with students.
What is the do now? The do now is one of the many forms of retrieval practice that students work through every day at Dixons. This short activity is waiting for students as they enter the classroom and is usually projected on the board or printed in the work booklet. At its core, it is a simple, routine knowledge quiz, which helps to check that your students have remembered a pre-planned portion of previously taught knowledge as per the principles of interleaving and spaced practice. It should be a mix of knowledge recall and application.
So what makes an effective do now? An effective do now should conform to 4 critical criteria to ensure that it remains focused, efficient and effective. Firstly, it must be consistent. The do now should be in the same place every lesson so that it becomes a habit for all your students. Whichever form it takes, be it on a PowerPoint, in a booklet or on a mini whiteboard, keep it consistent. Consistency will support formation of the habit. Secondly, it should be independent. Students should be able to complete the do now autonomously without any direction from you. Students should not need to discuss anything or require any extra materials to complete it. Thirdly, rapid. The activity itself should take no longer than 3 to 5 minutes to complete. Out of both the do now and the review now, a majority of time should be dedicated to the review now. See below for more information. The most common downfall of a do now is that teachers can lose track of time and, before they know it, it has eaten into a large proportion of their instructions. Finally, it should be interleaved. The do now should follow the principles of interleaving and space practice. As a result, the do now activity should be comprised of a mixture of previously taught knowledge, not necessarily pertaining to the lesson it precedes, and by doing this it helps to interrupt the forgetting process and provides a teacher with a clear idea of the gaps that have emerged in their students' knowledge over time.
So what should we do during the do now? During the do now, the teacher should ideally be circulating to spot common errors and misconceptions. In order to keep the do now and review now rapid yet 100% purposeful, the teacher needs to be selective of what they focus on. If you give students 8 questions in your do now, for example, you are not going to be able to review all 8 in depth. You will have to choose 2 or 3 questions that have posed the most problems for your students and focus on closing those particular gaps. To help make your decision, it is important to circulate during the do now. While circulating, note down a tally of incorrect questions, paying attention to repeated errors or misconceptions. Write students' initials to key questions. You could also find and take examples of student work which exhibit either examples of the common misconception or as a model for other students to compare their own work against. You will see in this clip the teacher is circulating around collecting common misconceptions as they do this.
Great start. 2.5 minutes left. Okay, brilliant. I've got most people on somewhere around 6, 7, 8. 1 more minute to really impress me and get to the end.
So next we've got to think, how do I transition to the review now effectively? The teacher should engineer the transition after students have completed the do now so that it is crisp, efficient and clear. The goal is to come out of the do now as quickly and orderly as possible. This could be achieved, for example, with a countdown and a switch to a different colour pen with instructions to check and change answers.
Okay, thank you, Tim, for your really brilliant focus so far. Can you now get ready to check and change? So 10 seconds, we'll have black pens down. Okay, ready to check and change in 5. Ikra, thank you on the high straight there. Staff there in 4, 3, Ellie. Everyone join me. Everyone make sure you're with me in 2, 1.
Or it could be achieved by preparing students to show mini whiteboards all at once, again using a countdown.
Good, we're going to make that 15. Put the pens down now. 10. Go on, join us if you need to. 7. 4. 2 hands. 3, 2, 1. Show me. Yeah, as I can see walking around, right. Swap our, find our green pen. If there's an issue with that, don't worry, use the pen you've already got. How do I conduct the review now? The notes you make when tracking your students' work during the do now informs your review now. As a result, the way you roll your review now out will depend on the performance of your class and the errors and misconceptions that you've identified. Where students generally got the answer right, it's fine for the teacher just to give them the answer. This enables the time spent on the review now to be focused more on the major gaps in knowledge. For the 2 to 3 questions that have posed the most problems for students, the teacher will want to address the gap in knowledge by re-explaining or reteaching it. It's important to recognise that the gap in your students' knowledge will not have been closed simply because you've given them the correct answer. Students must explicitly demonstrate that they can correctly articulate the knowledge that they initially got wrong. There are multiple ways that you can do this. For example, reteaching a concept, then use quickfire cold call questioning to question the more relevant students. Or mini whiteboard quizzing to see if students have closed the relevant gaps and mastered the relevant concepts. You could also guide students to do some short additional practice. For example, another question on the same topic, but with variation.
In the following clip of a science lesson, you will see the teacher using the data they gathered when they were circulating during the do now to ask targeted cold call questions to key students. They give all students the answers to questions most students got right, then spent more time reteaching concepts that students struggled to answer correctly. They include regular cold call questioning to check for understanding for the questions that students had previously got wrong.
Okay, number 1. Everyone tracking now, thank you. For atomic number, I saw 2 answers. I saw number of protons and I saw number of electrons. Only one of those is a definition. Thumbs up for number of protons. Thumbs up for number of electrons. Ah, good, well done. The people who have the number of electrons change their mind to the number of protons. Ruben, let's just check. What is it for number 1? Number of, not electrons, protons, thank you. Okay, good. Right, number 2, I think you all got this one. Just check, include the word total at the start. Number of protons and neutrons. So just green pen the word total at the start. Thank you, those people are checking it. Good. Right, you all got 3 and 4, okay? For positive ions, Daniel, what did you say? Lose electrons, and Cyrene for the negative ions. Gain electrons, good, that was really well answered. Same with number 5, okay? They are atoms with the same number of protons, tick that. Okay, and different numbers of neutrons. Okay, really good recall for number 6, okay? I saw this answer. There's just one next step with this. What do we need to add there? Let's try guessing, what did you add at the end? Not by micrometers. What's the standard unit for any distance? Good, well done, okay? So can you just green pen those of you who missed it off? And you did a really good job again with the recall of this. This is minus 14. Really impressed, okay, that everyone recalled those. Quite difficult details, those. Okay, and either you can recall this or just work out the difference by dividing. It's 10,000. Okay, number 9. Plum pudding model. Let's have a look at this. We've got a sphere of what? Starts off a little prompt, some people weren't sure. About what is there a sphere of? Positive charge, good, okay? So there's a sphere of positive charge. Note it down if you need to. I'll call at the end for the full answer. It's a sphere of positive charge. What have we got in there? Issue, what have we got in it? negative electrons. If you need to green pen now, negative electrons. I'll call someone for the full answer. That's why it's so important we take the time to green pen. Okay, can we have the team put it together? What is the plum pudding model? Excellent, well done. Sphere of positive charge with negative electrons stuck in it. Good.
In the following clip of an English lesson, the teacher focuses on just 2 questions because they were the most common misconceptions seen when circulating and reviewing mini whiteboards. They use some teacher input, then a mixture of cold call questions and mini whiteboard tasks to further check students' understanding. Okay, because that's what we've forgotten, I would like you just to spend a moment with that quotation. Just do a quick turn and talk for me, really, really brief, 10 seconds. What does that tell us about the witches in the play? If they are being established as the instruments of darkness, what is that telling us? 10 seconds only until your partner now. Right, so there's a sense of malevolence. What about their use in the play? What about their use in the play? So think about malevolence and then use in the play. If we're talking about them being instruments or tools, we're thinking about their use. So cold coming, what is their purpose and use in the play? Abdul. Beautiful, they're the catalyst towards maybe Macbeth's downfall. What would we say they're catalysing Macbeth? Good, his ambition. So what we need to make sure we're doing is we're really thinking about this quotation, the witches as instruments, as things used to catalyse that tragic downfall of Macbeth, which we know is the core message of the play. Could you just add the quotation to your whiteboard, but then just a quick comment after it? That's all I want you to do. A quick comment about the quotation. Why are they the instruments of darkness? Add a quick comment to your whiteboard. If you need to rub a bit out to make some room, do that now. We're not going to look at any of this because we spent some time on that. So just add a quick comment to your whiteboard about what that quotation means. And then I want you to show me your whiteboard again in about 20 seconds. Good. 10. So same again, pen down, board hovered, in 8, in 6, in 4, thanks for doing that. In 2, yeah. Good. Show me. Thanks guys. So I can see people also adding things like disrupting the natural order. So we see the idea of darkness, the idea of them being used to disrupt that, convey that meaning in the play around, and do not disrupt the natural order. Good. Right, thanks guys. Boards can be white. We will come back to a couple of these questions in the further do now, so maybe tomorrow we will repeat.
Thank you for watching this episode on how to deliver an effective do now and review now. Please like and subscribe to Open Source and be sure to watch the coming episodes in this series.